Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good evening to all. So I am back live once again before all of you with a new topic, and the topic that I have selected for today's discussion is language testing and evaluation. So before I begin, I would like to cordially invite all of you to join as early as possible. And today's live session will definitely benefit the students of ELT and linguistics because the topic is a very vital one, a very important topic for the students of ELT and linguistics. And I have already mentioned the topic, language testing and evaluation. So before I begin my discussion, I would like to define what language testing is. Actually, tests actually are, what do we actually do with tests? We measure the ability of someone. We measure the ability, knowledge, or performance of someone. So tests are actually measurements of ability, knowledge, or performance. So what language test is? Language test is actually the measurement of ability, knowledge, or performance of a candidate in a particular language. I repeat, a language test is the measurement of ability, knowledge, or performance of someone in a particular language. And testing is the use of tests, the application of test. We are dealing with language test as we are dealing with a particular portion of ELT and linguistics. We are dealing with language tests. So there are different types of language tests available. First of all, let us talk about proficiency test. What is proficiency test? Actually, a proficiency test is used before the beginning of a teaching program to see whether a candidate can follow that teaching program or not. Just like, some kinds of admission tests are taken before the beginning of a teaching program. So one of the major qualities of a proficiency test is it is free from any syllabus. It is not actually based on any objective of a particular curriculum or syllabus. It is completely free from a syllabus or curriculum. It is taken or conducted before the beginning of a particular teaching program to see whether a candidate can follow that teaching program or not. Just like Oxford EFL exam. Oxford EFL exam is a good example of proficiency test. And now let us talk about placement tests. What is placement test? A placement test is one kind of language test which is actually used to place a candidate to a particular teaching program according to his or her current level of competence. Suppose if I talk about the Dhaka University admission test, the unit-wise admission test that is taken, that is conducted to place the candidates according to their results. The candidates who are actually scored top marks or highest marks, good marks, they're getting the good subjects. Candidates who are getting lower marks, they're getting the subjects that are not all that good. So we are placing those candidates according to their results. In the same way, placement tests is actually used to place a candidate to a particular teaching program according to his or her current level of competence. And it is one kind of language test. We are talking about language test, not any other test. So you have to remember that. So placement test actually is tailor-made and it has no pass-fail distinction. It is only used to place a candidate according to his current level of competence. Suppose there are 3 levels of a language teaching program. like beginner level, mid level, and advanced level. So we are taking a test before the beginning of the teaching program to place the students according to his or her current level of competence, or according to their current level of competence. And after the test is conducted, if we see that candidate has done exceedingly well, then we'll put that candidate into the advanced level. But if he does minimum result, if he scores minimum result, then definitely we will put them into the mid-level program. But if he does exceedingly bad, I mean, if his performance is not good in that placement test, then we'll put him in the beginner level. So this language test is actually used to place the students according to their current level of competence or performance. It is used before the beginning of a teaching program. I hope you understand. Now let us talk about achievement test. This is another kind of language test. Achievement test. Achievement tests actually are of two types. It is actually of two types. Number one is the progress achievement test, and number two is final achievement test. So what is progress achievement test? Progress achievement test is actually used in the middle of a teaching program to see the progress of a learner, of a language learner. Just like we take several tests before the annual exam, like midterm exam, then some class tests. So these are actually progress achievement tests. This leads towards the final achievement test. Final achievement test is actually taken or conducted towards the end of a teaching program, and progress achievement test actually is taken or conducted at the middle of a teaching program. I hope you understand. And one of the most discussed point about achievement test and proficiency test is proficiency test is free from any kind of syllabus. It is not actually based on any objective or objective of syllabus or teaching program or curriculum. And whereas this achievement test is completely based on the objective of a teaching program. I repeat, achievement test is based on the objective of a syllabus or teaching program or curriculum, whereas proficiency test is completely free from any kind of syllabus or curriculum. It is not based on the objective of any teaching program or curriculum or syllabus. Rather, it is free from syllabus or curriculum. Definitely it deals with the teaching program, but it is free from any syllabus. I'm talking about proficiency test. But in case of achievement tests, it is completely based on the objective of a syllabus or curriculum. This is the basic difference between proficiency test and achievement test. Just like school leaving certificates, these are like achievement tests, final achievement tests. And progress achievement tests leads towards final achievement tests. Progress achievement test is taken or conducted before the beginning of a course or teaching program, whereas proficiency test actually is used or taken or conducted before the beginning of a teaching program or course, and the progress achievement test and final achievement test are taken during the middle and towards the end of a teaching program, respectively. I hope you understand. I make it clarify. I'm making it more clear to you. I'm trying to clarify it to you again. I repeat it. You try to listen it attentively. Okay. Proficiency test is conducted before the beginning of a teaching program or a teaching program or a course, whereas progress achievement test is conducted at the middle of a course and final achievement test is conducted towards the end of a course. This is the basic difference between proficiency test and achievement test. Proficiency test is taken before the beginning of a teaching program or course, and achievement tests is of two types, as I have already mentioned. Number one is progress achievement tests, which is taken during the middle of a course, and final achievement tests is conducted towards the end of a teaching program or a course. And progress achievement tests lead towards final achievement tests. I hope you understand now. So the basic difference between proficiency test and achievement test is proficiency test is completely or totally free from the objective of any syllabus or curriculum. But in case of achievement tests, which is of two types, progress achievement tests and final achievement tests, both these two types of achievement tests are based on the objective of a particular syllabus or curriculum. That means these types of tests are conducted based on the syllabus. Am I clear? And now let us talk about the next type of testing, that is next type of language test, that is aptitude test. What is aptitude test? Well, different kinds of learners have different kind of tendency about learning a language, and the age, motivation, and the educational background definitely influence the ability, knowledge, or performance of a candidate, of a language learner. So, people of different ages have different kinds of interest towards learning, and their motivation, their educational background are not the same. So the aptitude, their tendency towards learning a language is tested through this kind of test that is called aptitude test. The tendency or aptitude of a learner towards learning a language, that is known as aptitude test. Now let us talk about the next type of language test, that is diagnostic test. What is diagnostic test? Well, actually diagnostic centers are there. Why do we actually visit those places, diagnostic centers? To actually identify our problem of our health, and thereby we take necessary remedial actions. The doctors prescribe us necessary remedial actions after seeing the report. So we visit those diagnostic center to identify our problems, our health related issues or problems. In the same way, diagnostic tests is that kind of language test which deals with the problems of a language learner. These kinds of tests are actually used to identify the strength or weakness or problem of a language learner. So proficiency test and achievement test these two types of tests are some kind of diagnostic test as well, because these are used to judge the ability of learners, their weakness, their strength in a language. So diagnostic tests are used to measure the strength and weakness of a candidate in a particular language. I hope you understand. Now let us move on with the next language test, that is known as discrete point and integrative testing. In discrete point, only one item of a language is tested, and in case of integrative testing, more than one items of a language is tested. I repeat, discrete point and integrative testings, in these two types of tests. In the first one, discrete point testing, one item of a language or one skill of a language is tested, and in case of integrative testing, more than one items of a language or more than one skills of a language are tested. I'm giving you an example of discrete point testing, like candidates are asked to write an essay, and we're actually judging his writing skill. We are trying to measure his writing skill by asking them or instructing them to write an essay on a particular topic, and thereby we're actually scoring his essay, and we're trying to measure his writing ability or writing skill in a particular language. That means one item of a language or skill of a language is tested. That is known as discrete point. And integrative testing, I have already mentioned, in this kind of language test, more than one items of language are tested. Like, reading comprehension and answering questions. Here what is happening, your reading skill is developing, at the same time your writing skill is also developing. More than more than one item, two items of language at the same time are tested, reading and writing. So this is known as integrative testing, where more than one item or skills of a language is tested. Now let us talk about the next language test, that is direct versus indirect test. What is direct test? In case of direct test, a language or a candidate performs precisely the skill that is tested. For writing, for testing the writing skill of a candidate, he has to write. For testing the reading skill of a candidate, he has to read. For testing the speaking skill of a candidate, he has to speak. For testing the listening skill of a candidate, he has to listen. So these are the direct tests. The candidate has to perform precisely the skill that is tested. But in case of indirect test, one skill of a language is tested through the accomplishment of another skill. I repeat, in case of indirect test, one skill of language is tested through the accomplishment of another skill. Like speaking test is conducted and students are asked to write the phonemic transcription of some words. So as a candidate is given pen and paper to write the phonemic transcription of some words, and thereby his speaking is tested. So he is not speaking, but his speaking is tested through writing. That means the phonemic transcription of words. So this is one kind of indirect test, where his speaking skill is tested through writing skill. So this type of tests are not good tests, where actually candidates are not performing the skill which is precisely the skill which is tested. Rather, one skill is tested through the accomplishment of another skill. I hope you understand. This is indirect test. So these are the different types of tests that are available. These are the different types of language tests. Now, let us talk about criteria of an ideal language test. That means qualities of an ideal language test. What kind of qualities an ideal language test should have? Or what should be the qualities of an ideal language test? So there are three criteria or three major qualities. Number one is validity. Number two is reliability. And last but not the least, practicality. So let us talk about validity first. What is validity? Actually, criteria of a language test or qualities of language tests measure the ability of language tests. That means these are tests of tests, how good a test is. So in case of validity, the first criteria, validity actually is concerned with two things. Number one is what precisely does a language test measure, and number two is how well does it measure. Number one, what precisely does a language test measure? Number two is how well does it measure. So validity is concerned with these two things. There are different types of validity. Number one is content validity. Content validity actually identifies whether there is closeness between the objective of syllabus and the test items. That means if the test items do not hold the objective of a syllabus or curriculum, then that is not a good test. That kind of test lacks test validity. That means there are some items in the test that do not hold the objective of the curriculum or syllabus. Am I clear? Those kinds of tests are not valid tests. Those are bad tests. those types of tests lack content validity, that doesn't have any relevance or any closeness with the objective of the syllabus. But if the syllabus holds if the course items, I mean the test items, hold the objective of the syllabus or curriculum, then those tests are valid tests. Those tests do have content validity. So the next type of validity is criteria related validity. So what is criteria related validity? Well, criteria related validity is of two types. Number one is concurrent validity, and number two is predictive validity. So what is concurrent validity? Well, if test scores of a candidate, if the test score of a candidate shows high level of agreement, then those kinds of tests do have concurrent validity. But if the test scores do not show high level of agreement, those tests will lack concurrent validity. I think you have got nothing out of it. Okay, I'm trying to explain. Well, actually, suppose a test is taken, a language test is taken, and 80% students failed or got lower score. That means there must be something wrong in that test, because most of the candidates have performed badly in the exam or in the test. 80% students, suppose. That means there must be something wrong with the test. The test scores couldn't show high level of agreement. That means this test lacks concurrent validity. But another thing might happen, like all students have done well. 80% students have got A+, or 90% students have done exceedingly well in the exam or in the test. That means there must be something wrong in the tests, because everybody has done well, almost everybody. So that kind of score, test score, also doesn't show high level of agreement. So these kind of tests do lack concurrent validity. I hope you understand. So test scores have to show high level of agreement. If it does, then it does have concurrent validity. But if it doesn't show, if the test scores do not show high level of agreement, then the test will lack concurrent validity. Now let us move on with the next type of criteria related validity, that is predictive validity. What is predictive validity? Well, if a language test can predict the future performance of a candidate, then the test do have what? Predictive validity. But if the test doesn't show the future performance of a candidate, if the test score does not show the future performance of a candidate, it will lack predictive validity, because it could not predict the candidate's future performance. How is that? Suppose during midterm exam, one student got A+, but in the final exam, he failed. That means his midterm exam could not predict his future performance. That means the midterm exam lacked predictive validity. And even the opposite thing can happen. He failed in the midterm exam and got A+ in the final exam. So his midterm exam failed to show his future performance. So tests that do not show candidates' future performance lack predictive validity. But if a test can show the future performance of a candidate, then that test will have predictive validity. I hope you understand. Now, let us move on with the next type of validity, that is construct validity. What is construct validity? Construct validity actually deals with the theories of a test. If the theories of a test is put, whether the theories of a test is put inside the test or not. If the theories are put inside the tests, then those tests will definitely have construct validity. Like the ability to read sometimes have a number of sub-abilities, like ability to gaze, ability to understand, ability to comprehend, ability to memorize, ability to remember. So these theories, if these theories are put inside the tests, then those tests will have construct validity, otherwise those tests will lack construct validity. That means construct validity is concerned with the theories of a test, whether the theories are put inside the test or not. Now let us move on with the next type of criteria or quality of a test, that is reliability. Reliability. What is reliability? Reliability actually is concerned with the consistency of a test score. I mean, whether candidate's test score is consistent or not. Reliability is of two types: test reliability and scorer reliability. Now let us talk about test reliability first. Suppose if a candidate takes similar test in different occasions, but his results, test scores or results fluctuate from time to time, that means there is no consistency among his test results, then those tests will actually lack test reliability. But if his test scores in average are consistent, then those tests will definitely have test reliability. I hope you understand. Like, our cricketers, Bangladeshi cricketers, they're not consistently performing. So if you talk about our players, they're consistently doing bad. I mean, not sometimes they're scoring 100, sometimes in the next match they're scoring a duck. So they do not have any consistency in their performance. So if a test score of a candidate fluctuates, if it doesn't have any consistency, then definitely the test lacks what? Test reliability. But if the test scores are consistent, if the candidates are consistently performing in the same way with the same test, then that kind of test is reliable, and that test will definitely have test reliability. I hope you understand. It deals with the consistency of a test score of a candidate. Now let us move on with the next type of reliability, that is scorer reliability. Yes, suppose I am a teacher, I am a scorer. I scored 8 in an essay out of 10. But if I give those paper to another examiner, and if he scores the similar essay, and if he might score 5, he might score 6. So my score definitely can vary from other scorers. So it deals with the consistency of scores among the test scorers. So if we check one test script, if we can have it checked with more scorers, at least 2 or 3 scorers, that kind of test will be more reliable, because a candidate's response to a test and his performance or his test scores, if we try to score, so the examiners can be divided in kind of scoring. One scorer might give one kind of mark, another scorer might give another kind of mark or score. So this is actually what it deals with. It deals with the consistency among the scorers. So if we can have the script checked with more than 1 or 2 scorers, those kinds of tests will be much more reliable, because in our country, even in case of SSC exams, board exams, there are more than one examiners. They actually have it checked with more than 1 or 2 examiners. There are head examiners as well. So if I can check it, if I can have it checked with more than one scorer or one teacher, that would be much more effective. I hope you understand what scorer reliability is. And now let us talk about practicality. What is practicality? Practicality is actually another quality of a good language test or ideal language test. and it deals with economy in time and money. Tests that take a lot of time, that consumes a lot of time, are not practical tests. Suppose the examination time is 1 hour, but the question paper or the test items are as if it would take more than 1 hour, then that test is not practical. It's time consuming. And if some tests are expensive, like our country, if we are a very poor country and we cannot sometimes manage listening materials inside the classroom because we have a lot of students, we have large class culture in our country, so tests that are expensive should be avoided in case of our country, from our contexts. So these kinds of tests are not practical for us. And test paper that is full of spelling errors, and test papers that are very untidy, font size is very small, so those test papers are also not practical. Printing quality is bad. This kind of test papers lack what? Practicality. So practicality is concerned with economy in time and money, and presentation of a sound test paper, good test paper. Clean and clear instruction should be there in a test. That is what practicality is concerned about. So that is all about the qualities of an ideal language test. So these are the qualities that an ideal language test should have: validity, reliability, and practicality. If a test lacks these qualities, that is not an ideal test. Am I clear? So I have already finished my discussion on language test and evaluation. I hope it will be beneficial for the students of ELT and linguistics. And thank you very much for attending my live session. And your participation actually is very important, because your participation is our inspiration, is my inspiration, and your participation, your likes, comments on this page will definitely help the page grow. And as much as followers this page can actually gain, the more it will actually be developed, and I will try to develop the page according to the demand of the candidates or the learners. So I wish all of you would join and participate, and I definitely encourage you to join my live sessions, and your participation is my inspiration. I repeat again. So that's all about language testing and evaluation. And another thing that I'd like to mention, a few days back, one of the students from Pundro University of Science and Technology contacted me with a problem and texted me through my Monjur's English Solution page inbox. And when I saw the response of the students, I became very happy, because your response, your comments, likes definitely will inspire this page grow. And I'm really very much grateful to that student that he actually follows my live sessions. And that student informed me that she actually saw one of my live sessions videos on innate theory and behaviorist theory, and she also informed that she was very much benefited out of it. And thanks to her for her response. And I want more response from the students of ELT and linguistics. You come up with your problems, you mention your problems by commenting on my page, by texting me through the inbox of this page, and my contact number I have already given. So my contact number, I am giving it to you again, 01717295310. So you can also contact me through this number. Any kind of problem that you are having in English language, ELT and linguistics, you can inform me, and I'll try to give my best solution to all of you. So thank you very much for joining, and that's all for tonight. Good night and goodbye.